This is Our Pioneers and Neighbours. I'm Olga Ruskin. We're going on a walking tour of historic North Lonsdale today with North Shore author Roy Pallant. Roy, this isn't the first time you've done it, is it?
That's for sure.
You've done it in this past summer with on behalf of another group, haven't you?
That's right, and that was St. Martin's Church.
Yes, and also the North Shore Heritage Committee.
That's right.
Yes. Well, what are we going to look at today?
Well, the first thing I got to show you, today we're going to talk about things that are on the surface, but one thing we should start off with is those things that we don't see. This is the connection pipe on the stave piping that in fact still exists underneath the roads today, and from 1912 onwards it was part of our water supply.
This is what one would find underground, 1912.
If one dug.
In 1912.
That's right.
For water.
And one of the interesting things was that the waterworks of both the city and the district tried out their apprentices by taking one of these corporation valves and having them file a rosebit reamer on the end. So when they went to connect a service on many of the houses that were coming in here, they had to do it with the water running through 50 to 70 pounds per square inch, which was quite a frightening task to put that valve inside that pipe. So what they did was they had the apprentice sit in the trench, having done this, and they, with an auger, with a handle on, would drill a hole in the center of this just to get it started. Then they would take this, put this on a special fitting on the end of the auger and wind this in. If that was not sharp, then it wouldn't go through the wood and the apprentice was stuck in the hole. So you can see that part of our heritage is to teach the apprentices to file that and wind it in, and there was the service for the new house.
Well, it's quite different today, isn't it?
It certainly is, yes.
It's a very heavy piece.
It was heavy, but the great thing about the wood was the fact that it was durable. And even today, it would be very sensible and scientific if that was still done, because of the fact that this is flexible as the ground shifts. As it is now, the pipes break in the process. Yeah.
Would this be made from cedar, did you say?
Yes, these are cedar, but not always, but round here it was always made of cedar.
Yes. Well, this is where we'll be seeing the wood pipes today.
That's right.
Well, what other points of interest will we be walking by?
We're going now to the location of the Queen's Neighbourhood pub, where we're going to talk about the first house on this land.
Yes.
And then we're going up to Chesterfield School and to 3 houses that were actually built by Thomas Nye, whose land we were standing on at this time.
Are there any points of interest right here around the District Hall that you'd like to mention?
We have behind us the site of what used to be the North Shore College, and as a matter of fact, all around us we have houses that were built by Thomas Nye in and around 1913, 1911.
Now, the name Thomas Nye is going to keep coming up again and again. Who was he?
Thomas Nye was a man who was born in Brighton in England. He came over with his parents and he answered the call to fight in the Boer War in South Africa. When he came back, like all the others, he was given a scrip for fighting in the war, and that scrip was 160 acres, and that's 40 chains by 40 chains by their standards. And he was given that, and what he did was he built the required shake house on that, which is down there at the Queen's Neighbourhood pub, that site. And from there he went into the construction business, and he either sold the lots or he built houses on those lots of various sizes to suit the requirements of and the financial situation of those people who came here.
So our next stop is going to be Queens and Lonsdale.
That's right.
Look at the site of Thomas Nye's house.
The Sacred Shack.
Roy, here we are standing at a very busy intersection in North Lonsdale. What is this all about?
Well, this is a very important spot. By historical standards, we could say this was the sacred spot, because behind us is the Queen's Cross Neighbourhood pub, and that was the site of Thomas Nye's cedar shake house, which he was required to build under the requirements of the improvement certificate that everybody had to have when they were taking land here. He built that in 1902, the same year as he received his scrip. And he later on, in 1910, built a house on that spot, which later became the Scots House. And the picture of that Scots House is inside the Queen's Neighbourhood pub, including, of course, the copy of the script that he had at that time. Where we are standing now was the site of his warehouse, building warehouse, which he rented out to St. Martin's Church, which he called St. Thomas's at that time, and it remained St. Thomas's until 1919, when it became St. Martin's, and it connects up with our previous talk. The most important thing about this is that this was the center of the operations on this lot, and the actual operations as far as the business was concerned was at an office that he built on Lonsdale and St. James. That was the center of planning and the center of the real estate for this whole area.
Roy, now what was across the street from us on the northeast corner?
Well, where you see those apartments now at this time, that's the corner of Kings and Lonsdale. That was the site of the first post office here, and the significance of the post office was that the federal government called that North Lonsdale. So in actual fact, this in those days was a place, not just Upper Lonsdale as we call it now, but it was an actual place.
And where do we go from here?
Our next spot is to go up to Chesterfield School, which is in actual fact is the second site of that school.
Okay, here we go.
Right.